Welcome to Story Hour, a virtual meetup hosted by Wolf and Heron.
Welcome, everyone, and I'm going to switch over from my face to a big blank screen, and I will start my story. Hi, I'm Sarah, and this is what I aim for. Let me first tell you that I am a visual practitioner, and you might sort of wonder what a visual practitioner is. And basically what that means is that I am a person who uses tools and techniques to visually capture information and communicate ideas to create and stimulate creative thought. Basically, the visuals are the foundation of my business. Now, you might be wondering where I came up with this idea. And really, I was born into a family who loved to draw. My dad actually taught me how to draw perspective, and my older sister was the one who guided me into graphic design. Now, graphic design didn't end up being very interesting to me. I actually went to school for graphic design and got out and created a career for myself where I not only was hired by companies to do it, but then I also actually had my own graphic design firm. And what was really unsatisfactory about this is because I didn't get to draw very much. Then one day, a girlfriend of mine said that my drawing style was actually very well suited to something called graphic recording, which is what you're seeing right here today. And so when I figured that out, I wanted to make the world a better place through my drawings. Now, how was I going to do that? Graphic recording is really great because it gives context to the content. And what I mean by that is that when information is given to you through in an audible way, by drawing it, you can see what it is that I'm saying. And then what's really great about that is it's easier to envision the future. And when I discovered this, I thought that was really cool. These days, what I do is I work out of my 1964 Airstream travel trailer to come up with ideas to help people communicate better in a more visual way, because I would like a world with more empathy, greater understanding, and the ability to communicate in harmony with visuals. And this is what I aim to do. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you so much, Sarah. So adorable. Okay, so let's start with what was really powerful about Sarah's story. What worked? What is worth holding on to? And welcome to the folks that have arrived since the story started. What worked?
Well, obviously the visuals. It was so cool and so engaging. I absolutely loved it. And yes, it's clear that you're a professional. Yes,
yeah, I want to
love that experiment. It went great.
That's right. I want to call out the visuals in particular because it is first of all, it's unique for Story Hour that we have someone who has visuals as part of their storytelling. And we actually very often encourage people not to use visuals because they rely too heavily on the written word as the visual. Right. And so, Sarah, your visuals are very strong because they are there's something about the aesthetic, your choice of color, the way that things lay out on the page, that it completely 100% goes to the invite curiosity superpower that we talk about and to the engage emotion superpower that we talk about. So you know how to leverage visuals appropriately, which is why it becomes a strength instead of a crutch for you.
Thanks.
So what else? What else was strong about the story? Go ahead, Sarah.
Other Sarah. Yeah. I'm kind of seconding what you're saying, but I have a love-hate relationship with PowerPoint or any sort of visual in any kind of presentation. But it's just so cool how your how your visuals really just popped everything in the story. So normally when we talk about the 5 Ps, I would think, I think that those are either hand gestures or verbal inflection. And it's really interesting to me how you added those, but with the visual elements that you put in there. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to throw one more thing in that's actually not visual related, although I agree. I love the visuals. They were awesome. I also thought like the pacing of your verbal delivery was really good. Like the sort of stepping through, these sort of blocks, right? These elements kind of deliberately in pace with the visuals. I thought it was really great. And it helped me, sort of clearly differentiate, the steps along the journey. So yeah, I thought that was really good too.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually. So Sarah, I'm going to comment on a couple things. So Sarah, number 2, Sarah Blair mentioned the 5 Ps, and Will has then reinforced the pacing was really good. One of the things that is important to remember when we can't see you is that your verbal Ps become really, really, really important to help us connect meaning. Right? We have the advantage of the visual, but on top of that, your ability to really distinctly differentiate the parts and components of your story just through pause, through the way that you would, your vocal inflection, that helps us to hold on to the structure of your story, because we can't see you. We don't get the benefits of you saying 1, 2, 3 or holding up, doing some visual thing there. Right. And so it is extremely useful to be thinking about your 5 Ps in that way. And so, yes, I would second Will's comment there.
Thanks.
What about things for Sarah to experiment with? What could she try to do to lean into the superpowers more effectively or lean into the 5 Ps further? Go ahead, Molly.
I so deeply desired a picture of your dad and your sister. It was like you were leading us step by step with the visuals, and then all of a sudden you talked about your dad and your sister, and I was like, wait, what do they look like?
Oh, that is a miss.
But also it was like, what a good job you did with it's almost like a yes and, right? Like it was so enticing that I wanted more.
Well, I have to say, it's very difficult to talk and draw at the same time. As a graphic recorder, I'm usually drawing what other people are saying. So it's kind of a challenge. It's like input and output at the same time. So that's great though. I could have definitely had some of them queued up. I'll do that next time.
Cute. Sarah, was this a script you were reading? Were you thinking about, did you have any thought? I think one of the things that I would experiment with is writing it, because this feels like a video that belongs on your website.
Oh,
right?
Cute.
Right. And it's like, if you wrote it and recorded your own story, then you could add in the visuals as a way to help all of us understand what graphic recording is and give your business some personality. I think it's, there's a lot of opportunity there just as an asset for you.
Oh, cool. That's a great idea, Stephanie. Thank you.
Totally.
What
agree.
else? What
Totally
else?
agree. Yeah, that should be on your website. And if you do add it, to have your business name and all these things. But yeah, I was thinking that. I was just like, this is like, has she already done this for her website? So that's so cool. Yeah, no, it was great.
I think also the designs and the organizations of a picture illustrate what she really meant to say or what she intend to do in the future. So I think that was also unique, the design and organizations.
Thank you.
One more thought. What else could Sarah try to experiment with? Go ahead, Sarah Blair.
I was super engaged in the story overall. I feel like the only thing that was missing that could have really sold me you versus anyone else in the world doing design is the emotional piece. And I look at their elements of what you presented, that like making the world a better place, or like using design to help people have empathy, or just your like maybe it's the story of the first piece of art that you saw that made you realize this is what you were going to do, or that, like, whatever that emotional moment is, to kind of connect us not only to the fact that your art is phenomenal, but also to get me like super engaged emotionally in the why.
Okay, that's awesome.
And the story behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think that's a good recommendation. You also have characters, right? You have your dad and your sister, and they introduced you to things, but what did that make you feel like?
Okay.
Right? How did it make you feel alive? Or did it? Thank you so much, Sarah. We really appreciate your story. And it was fun to try. Fun to have a little visualization component there.
Visit wolfandheron.com to find out more about our story hours.